where do you see any change in the future?
Well, I mean, the reality is commercial pressures, a lot of people are drawn to the competition aspect of martial arts, and I guess the popularisation of MMA and the sort of money involved in MMA puts a lot of pressure on other martial arts to sort of look at, how can we get on television and how can we attract sponsors and all those sort of things. So it does take away from the original purpose and even the way the martial arts is trained and performed. And I've got mixed feelings. Like, I do run competitions, obviously, so I see, the appeal of those things. But I am very much a purist at heart. And I think if you're learning a martial art, you take in the culture, you take in the philosophy, you take in the full package of techniques and all the composition of martial arts, whether it's Taekwondo or anything else. I think that's important to preserve the martial art. But I do understand, the popularisation and the sensationalism of the sports, making it a spectator-oriented event, is there as well. So that has a delicate coexistence. I think over time it almost becomes two separate groups of the population. One group which will lean towards the sports, and another which will are just as happy to train by themselves, learning the art. With the access to a good teacher or good resources. And that's kind of the way it's going. But full-time schools, of course, nowadays a lot of people going into full-time schools in Australia, which was America always kind of led from example. Maybe a decade or two earlier. But I don't like to use the term, but we're becoming Americanized in terms of the commercialization of it. And like I said, if you're developing a good product, delivering a good product, I don't have a problem with that necessarily. But what I do often see with a lot of the full-timers is because of the pressure of getting high numbers of people through the door to pay their rent, pay their income, pay their lifestyle, quite often their standards do drop away. Particularly with the young kids, and there are exceptions to the rule, of course, but I do see, I would say, more rather than less, sacrifice their standards for volume of clients. Both in the way they teach and absolutely in the way they test for rank progression.
I recall myself going to a
long term of the martial art. A lot of people carrying high rank that don't really know a lot of the martial art.
I saw an example of that myself quite some years ago, going to a tournament in Sydney. It was a mixed martial art, and I think a 10 or a 12-year-old kid walked past who was a second-degree black belt. And at that stage, he was my rank, so it was quite a funny moment. But look,
the beauty of it for me personally is it keeps me working. The more and more schools that aren't teaching everything, the more and more demand there is for someone else to come in and show them. And it's not because I'm the best in the world. I'm far from it. But I learned everything. You know what I mean? So I can come in and add and fill those gaps.
Excellent. Well, we're about out of time, so thank you, Master Muleta, for joining us today. My first interview, and we're hoping that we get more subscribers, and one of my goals is to bring more awareness to martial arts, but on a smaller scale. So after this virus is finished, I'm hoping to get out to, say, your local tournaments, do a bit of videoing and talk about what the average Joe is doing in their school.
Sure. Well, the technology's there, good time to embrace it, and I think we're all going to come out of this experience a lot wiser than we went in terms of what the potentials are to reach people that we didn't know. I mean, we were a bit ahead of the game already because we were incorporating some of it into our business, but a lot of your Joe average instructors now have become little movie stars on Facebook, which is fantastic. Because now we get to see what everyone else is doing. And it's great. I think it has a global reach now, so that's good.
That's great.
So I think it's a game changer moving forwards, although an unfortunate set of circumstances, but we need to look at the positives that can come out of it down the track.
Of course, Okay, so thanks, Master Muleta, for joining us, and thank everyone for tuning in to our episode of the Martial Arts Show. Thank you.
My pleasure, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, you're right.
So I was, let's put this on. I still was